Laura-Lynn, you've been inside the conference, unlike myself. What can you tell us about what's the sort of the feel for social conservatives inside the conference?
You know, I think that there is a little bit of a shaking. We've heard what's happened with Maxime Bernier. And I think that there's a little bit of chatter. I think what conservatives want is to see conservatives stand for conservative values. And there has been a decline in that. So not talking about gender fluid ideology in schools, the whole abortion issue and everything just not being able to be talked about. There's a certain faction of the conservatives that are very, very unhappy with that, thus giving rise for an opportunity for somebody like Maxime to go, hey, there's a certain part of the conservatives that are not being addressed. And I think that's an important part. This is what the Conservative Party was based on and founded on, was these principles of morality, of our deep held traditional values. And so I've heard from a lot of people today on the inside, you have not, Sheila, because you've been banned, and I'm not sure why that is. It's not a good idea, but I feel that there's an unrest in the party, but I do like Andrew Scheer. He's a family man. He's a good man. Yeah. But we have some ideologies coming at us that we want more strength pushing back on the darkness that's coming against our land. And we've got to stand against gender fluid ideology, and we've got to stand up for life in our nation.
You know, I'm like you, Laura. I'm cheering for Andrew Scheer. I want him to be the best conservative that I know that he can be. And I want him to be brave, and I want him to be bold. Yes. And I also want him to find bold people to be candidates.
Yes.
And I know that you've had an experience recently about that.
I have. I was running for the New West division as MP. I wanted to run in the riding. They did not approve a waiver, which I know that they give liberally. I hadn't been a party member for 6 months. My membership had lapsed. And so they did not grant me a waiver. Instead, they gave the riding to a woman from Ottawa who lives in Ottawa, and she's moving to the riding. And I know that she didn't complete all of the application process, so I was upset. So I had to ask myself, why was I sort of, why was there a gate put up to my candidacy? And I had to determine that maybe it's because I stand out very strongly against gender fluid ideology. And that really surprises me, because is this not the party that we can rely on? I am not talking about even gay issues. I'm talking about transgender teaching that is brought to children. And most conservatives, I would say categorically that they would not want to see that happening in our schools. Why are conservatives not standing? Why would I be disqualified based on that? Is it fear?
So now I know you've been on my shows a few times. You're a very outspoken critic of gender fluid ideology being taught to children before they're even ready to even understand what those things mean. How can people support you in your quest? I mean, because you're really the thought leader on this in British Columbia, and all bad things that happen in British Columbia somehow end up in Alberta. How do people support you?
Well, thank you very much for asking. I mean, when there are 5 transgender books in kindergarten to grade 4, 5, how many transgender ideology books do we need? We need to stand, and everyone who knows about that wants to stand. If people would love to help me to do this, I will be the front man. Laura-Lynn.tv. Laura-Lynn.tv. Here's the problem, Sheila, is that as soon as you begin to stand against this, you have got an LGBTQ assault against your job, your reputation. They'll call you all kinds of names. I don't really care. I choose to stand. I will not bow to an ideology that is not good for our children. We do not need them to be thinking about being gender fluid, and I'm not going to bow. And so Laura-Lynn.tv is where people can go to support me in my stand for righteousness in this nation.
You know, Laura-Lynn, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope a little bit of your strength rubs off on this cowardly Conservative Party.
I do too, because it is actually the only hope, because there is a large faction that is unhappy with the lack of courage, and that is what is giving rise to another opportunity.
Great. Thanks for talking to me, Laura.
Thanks, Sheila.